Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX setups for today. So, yeah, levels we were looking to bounce off did not materialize, and I just want to get these two levels in because this is what is critical at the moment. So, this was the previous swing high back on the 27th of March. You can see a very strong move up, and then we had this channel down, break the channel, come test, second test, and then got going again. But this is the zone of interest for me, and you can see the last 2 weeks already we have been testing this 18641 and 18607. So the question here is, where to now? Are we ranging? And that is my opinion at the moment. That is, see, there's my swing high. I'm going to have a look at this. May have been an opportunity for a short there. Risky one, but definitely would have been an opportunity. But that's the top of the range, and now we're sort of back at the bottom of the range at the moment. So where to? Are we going to attempt a buy here for a move up? I don't like that because we've done it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times already. This is the 6th time. And I don't believe in 6 times lucky. So anyway, big engulfing bar here, and if we just swing across to the weekly, you can see we've had 2 weeklies. Let's just call it like we're at a weekly range bar at the moment, so we're at the bottom of the, not the previous week before, the range bar. We had buyers come in, now we've had sellers in, so big up, big down, big confusion. The trend is to the upside, granted, but we could pull all the way back down to, what is this, 1700, and still be in an uptrend. So we are looking a little bit tired. There's no two ways about that. It's sorry, there's just so much chaos on this chart, and it seems to be whenever you add levels, then it just adds levels lower down as well for you. Anyway, range bound. That's moral of the story there on the 8 hour. We drop down to the 3 hour. It is still range bound. Have a look at my oscillators now. Separating, coming to the bottom here, and you can see what's been happening in the range. Every time we get to the bottom, we kind of swing and we move to the upside. So there are going to be range traders that are going to be coming in here. Yeah, I'm just a little bit cautious here because we are above the 150 EMA. So, granted, the trend is still up, but the longer you go sideways, the higher the probability is of it breaking either way. So in other words, it could just sort of move down along this trend line, and then if I start adding things in here, you can see where, well, that would be the only one that's applicable, and I'll have to go a little bit further left and then start looking at that next level there. You can see how that lines up. So this one lines up quite nicely with structures to the left, and then this one would line up with the diagonal. So there's a lot of magnets to the downside as well. I just want to delete the diagonal, but this is a strong zone of support. Now we've got a crossover in between the moving averages. So for me, 3 hour is still ranging, no real direction there. The hour is the interesting one. If you just look at yesterday's price action, what we were looking for yesterday is a pullback onto one of these many tails here. See there, just a pullback onto here for a continuation to the upside. So we were looking for the gap to close. There was a little gap here, and then a continuation to the upside. Well, that failed dismally, and we had a move to the downside. Now, if I just come left and make sure that that previous all-time high is in, and then there's another little pin bar there. So that's our zone of resistance, and you can see how price rejected that quite nicely. So, hindsight being the perfect science, a slight diversion here on the hour, big engulfing bar off that level. We should be looking for a short with a stop up there, so that's a 56-point stop loss for a move down, but that would have been against the trend, so it's not something I would have taken. but there's probably quite a few people that would have taken it, just based because that is a fairly strong resistance level. Now, if we drop down to the 15-minute, it becomes even more clearer. So you've got almost a range bar there. That's not a range bar, sorry. Well, it is a little bit of a range bar, more of a pin bar than a range bar. But then you've got this massive engulfing bar there. So story of threes as well, head and shoulders. You can see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I mean, if you go down to something like the 3-minute, you'll see it there. Where were we? Still not going to see it in the 3-minute. Probably see it on the 1-minute, but now I'm really getting granular. Let's just see if we can pick it up here. The point I'm trying to get at, well, yeah, there it is there. So the point I'm trying to get here is that, you know, there's the high, there's a higher high, there's a lower high. You have a neckline. Neckline is around there, and you drop below the neckline, came back to test it and moves down. So that's on a 1-minute. When you look at it on a 15-minute, I call it the story of threes, but it's three tails in a triangle like that, which is a head and shoulders for all intents and purposes. You can see that's the neckline. We dropped below it, we came to test the neckline, and then we carried on down. Anyway, I suppose the point is on your higher time frames, what you may, when you see this kind of pattern, 9 times out of 10, when you go down to a lower time frame, you will see a fairly clear head and shoulders that is forming. So that probably, if you were on the 5 minutes and you were watching this, you know, you could have argued that that was a short. Hindsight's always a perfect science. Big engulfing is actually not that clear. It's 2 engulfings, 3 engulfings. But you could also be looking at a thing as forming a channel. You're looking for a test of structure here for a move to the upside. So, yeah, hindsight's always a perfect science. But anyway, it's not something that I would have picked up, not something I would have traded, and not something that I did trade. But the logic is still there that it was an opportunity, probably with a 40% success rate. Anyway, what we have done is to drop below the moving averages now. So from a 50-minute perspective, the trend is down, but you are in a strong area of support here. So this is weekly support levels here. So you definitely don't want to be trying to second guess this and jumping in short here, but you also don't want to be buying here. So the moral of my story this morning is leave it alone, sit back, and wait for better days. Looks like a start of a big move, but I don't trust it. There's also a little flag it's forming, which would indicate a move to the upside. The oscillators are extremely oversold at the moment, so yeah, buyers could come in, or the sellers could continue. There's no real structure for us to worry about at the moment. This could just be bottom of range. Now we're going to swing to the upside again. The bigger trend here is just way too strong. And if you look at this on the daily, and I get rid of all these support and resistance levels, let's do that. And then I change my tune, and I say, wow, guys, look at this flag. Wait for the break of the flag, and we should get a nice strong move to the upside. Okay, so that is consolidation. So for me, I'd rather be wait for structure to the upside. So I'd rather be waiting for breaks and retests to the upside, and there's nothing on this downward move, so it would have to be the high of yesterday before I start looking at that. So that's kind of my view at the moment. I don't think there's much worth chasing, especially not when we are ranging like this. And if you look at that little story, I could also even say, you know, look how this flag has broken. Look there. There's my flag. I've broken. I've come back to test it. I'm now looking for an opportunity to buy with a stop below this pin bar. That's another, you know, it's another way of looking at it. Look at my oscillators here. So, you know, there's merit for a trade in both directions, and when that happens, it just means you're in a range and there's confusion. So, if anything, You need to get above 18,767 before starting to look for longs, and that would validate the flag break. But it could also just be the top of the range. So I'm going to wait for better days. Anyway, hope that helps you somewhat. Maybe there's some insight there, but no real trade for me. And we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Cheers for now.